we have seasons. And having seasons and temperature changes and weather changes are really some of the things that really affect cars. When we go from hot to cold or from cold to hot, we always have a run of vehicles that won't start. And it's because of batteries fail, because during temperature changes it takes a whole lot less power to change to start a car with when it's hot outside than it does when it's cold outside. That's something that we see a lot of when people first move here, is that they are here a couple weeks and all of a sudden AAA is bringing their car in on a tow truck because their car doesn't start. And the other thing that we see a lot of, and this is due to mostly moisture, we see a lot of air conditioning failures. Air conditioners, and a lot of people don't realize this, but an air conditioner, not only does it cool your car, but it also defrosts the windows, and it also keeps the moisture out of the inside of the car. So a well-functioning air conditioner is constantly pulling moisture out of the inside of the car. And we all know that if you have something wet for too long, things tend to mold and mildew. So it's really crucial that your air conditioning is working correctly in January, because that's pulling all of the wet air out of your car, and it's keeping your interior dry, it's keeping your windshield defrosted, is keeping the inside of the car's electronics dry. You don't want moisture developing all over your vehicle's computer, or on the inside of your dash, or in the inside of your CD player. And so that's a critical function of an air conditioner, is to dehumidify the inside of the car. The other thing that we see often, and it's really a dangerous thing out here, is that Western Washington, particularly Seattle and the South King County area, is built on multiple hills. So you're using your brakes all the time. You're climbing hills, and you're really hard on the car, and the car's working really hard to climb this really steep hill, and then on the backside of that hill, you're on your brakes 10 or 15 times to go down a hill that's only 2 miles long. Well, when we have wet weather, one of the properties of brake fluid is it absorbs moisture, and brake fluid will absorb moisture to the point to where your brake fluid is made up of brake fluid and water. Well, water has a boiling point that's a lot less than brake fluid. So as you're going down the hill and you're holding your foot on the brake, your brake operating temperature may reach 500, 600, 700, 800 degrees. Well, water boils just a little over 200 degrees. And so then we have the instance of we've got boiling brake fluid, and when you boil brake fluid, that turns into vapors, and you can't compress a vapor like you can regular fluid. Fluid doesn't compress, and a vapor will compress. So you push on your brake pedal, and all of a sudden your brake pedal goes to the floor. Now you're going down a hill, you have no brakes, and all of this could have been avoided by changing your brake fluid. And that's something that if you live in Arizona, you can get away with not changing your brake fluid for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. In Washington, if you go more than a couple of years, you're going to start having some serious brake problems by not changing your brake fluid. That's probably the biggest shock to people, is the air conditioning and the brake fluid. Those are the big differences between whether you're from Southern California or Nevada, where the climate's typically a lot drier. Also, the other thing that we get a lot of is when it does rain here and the roads are wet, you have a lot of that moisture that's entering the vehicle. It's finding the little crevices and finding the little breather vents and stuff, and is entering into the fluid. So it's really common for us to service a rear differential on a truck or on a full-size car and pull the fluid out, and the fluid's milky and looks like chocolate milk when it was supposed to look like vegetable oil. And the reason that it's done that is that it's absorbed all this moisture that we have in our air and we have on our roads, and has contaminated the fluid. And when the fluid's contaminated, it loses its lubrication properties, and then all of a sudden you start to do damage to hard parts on a car. So those are the two most common things that we see.